After the nervous skirmishes of the first 7 days, the battle for the overall victory at this 2013 96th edition of the Giro d'Italia will really hot up in the second week. Stage 8 sees the first individual time trial of this year's race, and at 54.8 kilometres it should be the first major shake-up of the general classification, and for us Brits, the first chance to see Sir Bradley Wiggins doing what he does best. Stage 9 then sees the riders head into Tuscany, the heartland of cycling in Italy, and they'll be taking in some of this year's World Championships course in Florence, where later in the year we could expect to see Chris Froome fighting it out for the title. Stage 10 is the first mountaintop finish of the race up to Alto Piano del Montasio. It's the first time the riders will have gone over 1,500 metres of altitude, and by then they'll almost be at the midpoint of the race, having covered over 1,500 kilometres, which will have taken them roughly 38 hours. Riders then have 3 transitional stages before they reach the Alps for their first back-to-back mountain days. Over the course of stages 14 and 15, they'll cover over 6,300 metres of vertical climbing. Expect to see fireworks over these 2 relatively short stages of 168 and 149 kilometres respectively. They also pass over the second highest mountain of this year's race, the Col de Galibier, which will guarantee a fantastic spectacle. Ever since the reigning Tour de France and Olympic champion Bradley Wiggins declared his intentions to win the 2013 Giro d'Italia, there's been a lot of scrutiny on his build-up to the race. On paper, the 91.6 kilometres of time trials should suit the Brit, but the fact that 37.1 kilometres of those are either team time trial or mountain time trial, it might not be quite so much in his favour as things seem. The last time he rode the Giro was back in 2010, where he took an impressive opening time trial victory, thus becoming the second Brit behind Mark Cavendish to wear the coveted Maglia Rosa. However, after taking things easy over the last week, he finished a full 1 hour and 47 minutes behind eventual winner Ivan Basso. Wiggins' main rival in this year's race is set to be Italian favourite Vincenzo Nibali. Both of them have won Grand Tours, Nibali the 2010 Vuelta a España, Bradley the 2012 Tour de France. In the 2011 Vuelta a España, Wiggins beat Nibali by a full 1 minute and 22 seconds in the 47-kilometre individual time trial. Ending up in 3rd place overall, he beat Nibali by 3 minutes and 52 seconds. The longest individual time trial at this year's Giro is 54.8 kilometres, which is 1.3 kilometres more than the longest time trial at last year's Tour de France. And in that event, Bradley Wiggins put 3 minutes and 38 seconds into Nibali. Nibali ended up on the 3rd spot of the podium, but despite that, he was a whopping 6 minutes and 19 seconds behind Bradley. Wiggins has started the race 5 times in his career. He didn't finish the first one, which was back in 2003. In 2005, he was 123rd. 2008, 134th. 2009, he came 71st, but his best result came in 2010, where he came 40th. In stage 19 of last year's Tour de France, Bradley Wiggins was aiming for an average power of 450 watts over the 53.5k time trial, and with his weight at the time, that works out as 6.3 watts per kilogram. He'll be aiming for something very similar on stage 8 of this year's Giro, a 54.8 kilometre time trial, which I'm really looking forward to watching. Although the profile looks fairly flat, it's deceptive because over the course of the 54.8 kilometres, they'll rise over 550 metres in altitude. The last time that the Giro featured an individual time trial in excess of 35 kilometres was back in 2009, when the Russian Denis Menchov won a 60-kilometre test in a time of 1 hour and 34 minutes. Britain's Bradley Wiggins rode that day and came in the top 10, and I was also there, finishing a mere 11 minutes down. Pretty impressive.